Hello and welcome to another one of our Revelations assembly videos. I'm Rick, creator of Revelations Skirmish, which is a destructive combined arms miniatures game that you can 3D print from home or purchase the models already pre-printed from us. Now in this video, I'm going to be building a Core Republic Hunter 2H, and this is a very cool looking machine and a very cool pose that we've done up here, and I'm excited to be able to share that with you. So you can purchase this model from our site, link is in the description below. Now with this Hunter, you're going to find that it has the 50mm WarMech base, notches are the rear arc. You're going to have the legs already assembled, already on top of a rock, which when it's all fully assembled, I think you'll see why. It's a very cool, victorious looking pose. You're going to have the torso, the main thruster that plugs into the back, the optical sensor, 2 shoulders, 2 elbows, 2 forearms, and then 2 hands holding a hatchet. Now, it might look like the hands are very similar. They are actually not mirrored. Both of the hands are slightly posed different, which is actually even posed different than the hand holding the hatchet for the Hunter 1H pose. So we've tried to add enough variety that as we launch the Hunter, as of right now as recorded, we're going to be launching with 4 different poses of the Hunter. Each set of legs is different. We have a bunch of different elbows, and then obviously some different hands. So then that way you can really combine these and alter them around to be able to get different poses than even like what we're releasing as far as different configurations. And if you have the STLs, you can mirror certain parts and even get more configurations out of them, which is just the power of 3D printing and what we're super excited about. So with this, we're gonna go ahead and jump in and we're gonna begin assembling the torso so that can continue to fully cure as we move forward. We're going to just dry fit the main thruster here. That will fit nicely. Set a smidge of glue. Get that plugged in here into the back. It's very just straightforward. It doesn't have to be angled or anything. You just pop it in, it's good to go. Now with the optical sensor, there's gonna be a peg on top and there's a peg hole underneath the nose of the Hunter. Get this going. And we're gonna just put that in. We're gonna angle that slightly to the side because when this one is posed here on top of the rock, it's gonna be kind of looking off to the side. It's not gonna necessarily be just straight on. If you want it to be straight on, you can. This is just how I'm gonna assemble mine here. All right, now while that continues to finish drying, we're gonna go ahead and start working on getting this glued to the base. Now, I tried to shave down because whenever you do 3D printing, there's always going to be some print nubs or some flack left over. So I've tried to smooth this out as best I can so that when I get this glued on, it's gonna look nice and natural. What will be good though is that once I come back and I want to add a full texture to the base, if I wanted to, I could glue some extra rocks around here, some gravel, some sand, or maybe some texture paints. And I could kind of fill in, if you happen to print this yourself and there happens to be a little bit of a gap here around the rock, it's an easy fix because it's a piece of terrain effectively. You can add your own textures and other flock or rocks and stuff, so that way it'll all blend right into the base and you won't have to be super nervous. So it'll probably be more of a priority to make sure that the left foot is level, because the right foot we can cheat and fill in around the rock as we need to later on. So as always, when I like to pose mine, I like to have wherever is going to be the eyes or the face, really aiming opposite here of the rear arc. So for me right now, we're gonna consider it to be based off of the optical sensor. So if the optical sensor is aimed this way, we want the rear arc being opposite of that. So we'll kind of just get a rough idea of how we want this to be. So if we're gonna have it angled this way, we'll go ahead and have it posed like such. And you know what? It might even be worth, go ahead, now that we've been taking long enough here as I've been just describing things, we'll go ahead and glue the torso on. So then that way when we get to the legs, we know it's going to be aimed exactly where we want. Since this is victorious, do we want it aimed up or we want it aimed down? I think down is the goal here. I think that'll make it look a little bit more imposing. And we'll go ahead and add the glue. And I think it'll be easier to add the glue to the rock than it will be to the feet, because I always like to take mine off the base afterwards, so that way I can get them fully textured, but I've already finished painting the model. For me, I know some people are gonna paint theirs different. I like to paint mine while they're on the base. I feel that it's just easier that way. Plus, I can continue to play with it if I happen to just, I don't mind playing with gray models. Personally, I don't. But then that way I can go ahead and get some games in. And then, as the Hunter continues to get painted and I have free time, sure, great, let's get it done. And then we can get it, fully textured for the base and everything later on. Now we can go ahead and begin to work on the arms. As I've tried to point out in all the other Hunter videos, The shoulders here are going to have a small nub on one side, not on both. So on the whatever side it has it on, that is an optical sensor that you want to be aimed towards the back of the machine because it's meant to kind of give it eyes in the back. It has other optical sensors all over it, but we added, make sure to put one on the arm too. So we know that the arms are meant to kind of be to the side a little bit because you're kind of like standing on top of the rock, all like victorious or just challenging the enemy. The Hunter is one of those mechs where it's always kind of showboating. It's just a nasty machine in melee, lore-wise, and in the game. And it's just a fun machine, I think, overall. In a lot of ways, it just has a difference to it than maybe some of the other machines do, because it's very beastly. Now we'll let those, so we'll go ahead and switch to the other arm. With the elbows here, you're going to notice one side is smooth, the other side basically has a capital H. The capital H panel is going to be aimed towards the outside. So with the left one here, I want it on the left side because that will be the left, the outer left of my machine, so then that way I know I'm in the right spot. Do a quick dry fit to make sure everything's good. We're good to go. Add the glue, and go ahead and just pop it in there. And as that finishes, we're going to go ahead and move on to the other arm. Again, doing the dry fit real quick. This one is a bit more snug. It's actually not even going to need glue, so we'll just leave that as it is. We'll not even have to worry about that, except that it's not exactly perfectly the way I would like. So since it's still a little bit fresh, we pop it off. We'll aim it more like we want. Sometimes, when it comes to like these assemblies, sometimes it's difficult because you're trying to glue an arm together, but sometimes, in my opinion, it's better to do it shoulders than to the rest of the arm as opposed to assemble the arm then attach it. You could do it whichever way you prefer. I think, generally speaking, we get it where I want it to be pretty easy, but every now and then you run into a little bit where you're like, yeah, this would be a little bit better in this way or that. So with the other arm, you could have it just drop down, which might be the way to go, but we might have it slightly bent. So why don't we try that? We'll do this one slightly bent because the elbow is slightly bent. And the other arm is much closer to just straight on, so we might just drop it a little bit straighter. And while that's finishing curing, let's do this other side. Let's do the left hand. With this, we'll probably have it more open rather than bring the hatchet inward. I think that pose is just a little bit more menacing looking, is what we're kind of going for. Is this, this might be like the captain of our company, or it could be just another hero, or if it's mercenaries, it might just be a very defiant pilot. Kind of, I'm waiting for you over here to fight. And there we have it, the Hunter 2H fully assembled, ready for the table. Thank you guys again for watching. If you'd like to purchase this model, you can click the link in the description, or you can go to our web store. Talk to you guys later.